As also, I'm back talking about mindsets. I'm going to do lesson 85. This is about some performance problems. It's one thing to talk about overall attitude. It's another thing to say, hey, on the gig, you might get nervous. How many people have gotten nervous? I have gotten nervous before. It's pretty rare now. I always say this, tell my students the story of my first violin recital. I don't know what was shaking more, my pant leg, because I was, or my bow. I remember that. I was about 9 years old. The bow was shaking a little bit, So obviously I got over it, played in front of 40,000 people at Newport Jazz Festival one time and didn't even blink. So you can too. But it's interesting how anybody on any level can get tripped up by something. Even the great bass player from my hometown, Billy Sheehan. He's played in front of 80,000 people stadiums. He's played all these huge gigs in his life. And he said, he's a Scientologist. I am not, but he's a Scientologist. And one time on a gig, his idol, Chick Corea, who I've met, he's also a Scientologist, was at the gig, and he goes, oh my God, Chick Corea's here. I gotta be good now. And he says, I sucked. I floundered because it put him off his game. So it can be anybody or anything that can throw you off. It might be your old girlfriend or your mother. Oh, or my friend Joe, he hasn't been here to see me in like a year. I got to do good now. As soon as you say that to yourself, it's all over because you're putting some prerequisite above it rather than just taking dictation and being relaxed. So how do you get over nerves? One, you could do drugs or alcohol. I don't recommend it. A little shot helps sometimes if the whole group is nervous before a big gig or something. It just makes it take the edge off maybe. And I don't recommend that kind of stuff. I've never been into drugs myself. I did, the whole band got stoned one time years ago, and it was my first time playing under the influence of marijuana, and my time was all off. Not just my rhythmic time, but the sense of the song. I remember we were playing a Beatles song, it was a cover band, and it was like one of the early Beatles songs that had an ending. I ended like after every chorus thinking it was the end of the song. It's like, whoa, it's not the end? Yeah, it's like, oh, it wasn't worth it for me. I know musicians who have never played not stoned. It's not my thing. I'm not into it. So I don't recommend it. I say stay present, stay focused, stay here. It's my recommendation. But beyond that, how do you get over nerves? One, anger is a good way. Anger, you can pretend that you're pissed off at everybody. It's like, how dare those people judge me? They wouldn't know a wrong note if it threw off the end of my bow and bonked them in the head, as idiots. Now, some musicians stay there their whole life. They're just angry. There's not much room for nerves when you're angry. You're pushing past it. That's one way. I don't think it's the highest way. It can be a card you play, if you're in that position. The other one is humor. You can pretend everybody in the audience is sitting on the toilet with a clown nose on or something silly, It's like, and when you're laughing, it's kind of hard to be nervous. So you play with that in your mind. If you get nervous, pretend everybody's, got green hair or something. I don't know, whatever. Whatever happens, it makes you giggle. Let's see, what else can you do? The highest art form, of course, is to get past all these things and be of service. And if the humility of being of service quells your nerves, that's probably even the best. I preach about being of service a lot, don't I? So check out the waves, the different ways of getting over nerves. I don't recommend the drugs and alcohol, and I recommend the inner tricks. And just chill out and breathe. Breathing is probably a big part of it. It's the first thing you'll do when you're born. It's the last thing you do before you die, and it's the most important thing you can do all day. So try those things.